After I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, I decided to take everything I learned and everyone I've met since and share that information and the lessons learned. I'm Dayna Steele, and this is hashtag Surviving Alzheimer's, a caregiver's manual, a how-to guide for friends and family, and a safe space to learn and vent and maybe share a glass of wine. This is an interview that I want really badly because I think this is our eighth time to attempt it between, I don't know, plays and bike accidents and Zoom not recording and whatever. Aaron Marcum from Breakaway 365. How are you again?
I am so good. It's good to see you again, Dana. I loved our last conversation,
Well,
and I look forward to
we're
this one
gonna
as
have
well.
another one and actually
Yeah.
record it this time. I just have been following you so much more as our Zoom friendship has progressed, and I love your writings and I love
Oh,
your
thank you.
positivity. But you're a relatively young man who works in the senior care space, and you started it in your late 20s. That is
Yeah.
very, very unusual. It's usually older people I'm talking to,
Yeah.
and probably 75% of the time older women, many of them like me, who have firsthand experience caring for a parent. How did you get into this business?
It's a great question. Yeah, 29 years old. And in college, when I first met my wife, she just had this knack in working with seniors. And I'll never forget, like literally within the first couple weeks of dating her, she took me to a senior center. She's an exceptional pianist and she played the piano and I attempted singing and they don't care, they didn't care how I sounded. But that's when I started, kind of feeling like, I mean, even before that, obviously, I mean, really close with my grandparents and my grandmother. Struggled. It was around that time, and my grandfather was 100 at the time when we were dating, and he was still alive and lived right down the street from the university that we were attending, and so all of those things kind of came together.
Yeah,
And
but
I knew,
you
what's
learned
that?
early on, loving a grandparent and dealing in the care space are
Yes,
really two different things.
yeah. Yeah, and then we worked at my wife. She had got her gerontology certificate when she was going to school. So it was really my wife who helped steer me in this direction. And she worked for elder hostel program for the university, and I was their transportation. I drove them around, loved it. And so fast forward, I just knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur first, and I knew I wanted to serve our aging population. And I knew that in college. And so we saved up, built over the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I worked in the telecom industry during that time in sales and did pretty well there and were able to save some money. And then when the time was right, I think in 2001, I found home care as a way to get into the industry. I had a good mentor who brought me into it, Steve, and the rest is history. Got into it, and yes, at first, people are like, "Who is this young kid, and why should we trust him with our mom and dad?" And its services, and it took a while. I had to just persevere. And over time, within just a few years, we grew that home care business to be the largest in the state for the private duty, what's called private duty home care, private pay home care, and so the rest is history. And I've been in the industry ever since, 24 years. So
Well, who is home care for? Well, first of all, let's tell people what you're doing now. Breakaway
yeah,
365. Talk about
yeah.
what you do with this part of your life now.
Yeah, so now I work with home care leaders, entrepreneurs who are working with our aging population, people doing what I've done. I had started that home care business, and then I was part or an owner in another one fairly recently, actually, out of Raleigh. And so, using all my experience, and I had a company that measured the satisfaction and quality standards for the home care industry. One of my just an amazing journey with that business. I was 12 years founder of that company. and just culminating all of those things together. And I've got a master's degree in applied positive psychology. I've created a coaching program or platform that helps build better cultures in home care and helps these home care entrepreneurs live better lives, but at the same time deliver the best quality care possible. And most of them, if not all, every home care provider provides some level of dementia for the most part, or at least has dementia clients that they're working with. And so it all trickles in. So Breakaway 365 is really a coaching framework and platform for the home care sector.
What do you look for when you're looking for home care? I mean, because when I
Yeah.
started this with my mom, it never dawned on me that I could hire somebody to go and just, maybe a couple of days a
Yeah.
week, check on her, see how things are going, spend some time with her. And so instead, I moved her, it was an independent living facility and it was much
Yeah.
closer, so I could be there. But it was still a lot of work for me while I was
Sure.
still trying to raise a couple of teenagers and a husband and and do my job and do a speaking career that was taking me out of town every week.
Sure.
So I didn't even I looked into a few agencies at the time, and
Uh-huh.
they all seemed like they were more like nursing.
Yeah.
She wasn't that far along, nor did we know at the time that it was Alzheimer's and that she was
Yeah.
hiding it so successfully.
Yeah.
So, who is home care for?
Yeah. It's for I would say two markets, right? Or two target audiences. The adult child. I don't know why the balloons are flying
I
there.
know it does that when I play D&D with my kids, and I'm like, I have no idea what I did. I was just drinking wine, so woohoo.
Yeah. But for the adult children, the spouse, the family members who need respite, who are pursuing their own careers, who can't take time off sometimes, right? From the busy work life, and who also, I think, even more so, need to be the family member that they were meant to be, and not the one taking care of the personal care and the
No, because you get angry
oh
and then,
yeah.
and your mom or dad gets embarrassed if you have to, wipe
They don't
their bottom.
they
If I
don't
just be
want
really graphic here, it's horrible and it's embarrassing
yeah,
and it's so weirdly stressful as a
it
grown
is
child.
for both sides. And
Hmm.
it's amazing, even with someone, you probably saw this as well with your mom, even with someone with memory challenges and Alzheimer's, they know. They usually
Yeah.
know that this is my child, that this is not right. They are far more comfortable with more of a stranger, someone that hasn't been part of their life for a good portion
Because
of
they're
their
used
life.
to that their whole lives.
Yeah,
Doctors, nurses, medical professionals,
yeah, exactly.
those are the people that, you go in and you have to strip down.
Yeah,
As embarrassing as it is, you have to do it as a doctor, but
yeah,
you don't want to do it in front of your child.
yeah,
And it's hard
yeah,
on kids. How you preach about this, I preach about this. How do we get people thinking about the future and having a plan
yeah.
and knowing you're not alone, but you can't wait till the last minute. This is
No,
hard.
it is hard. And we are often in denial, right? That our parents might get to this point and that and that they're always going to be a spry or they're always going to be the way we know them today. But having that plan in place and understanding their wishes, if they want to age in place and they want to be in their own homes, what are the options? Or if they're like, you know what, I don't really care. I want to be with other people in an independent living community and I want to start there. I mean, whatever their wishes are and understanding when they do have they're able to communicate that, right? And then putting that plan in place. And we're afraid, I think, to have those conversations. And once you have them, and I've seen this with many of the families that we've worked with over 2 decades, and measuring the quality and getting the feedback from family as well, is that when they have those conversations, it is freeing, and it is the clarity that comes with it. Putting those things in place well beforehand just is so smart. And also understanding what resources you have available. You know,
And
every
see, I
community is
didn't
different.
know.
Yeah,
I mean, well-read, speaker, business speaker, written 17 books, whatever. But when you hear the words, your mom's probably well into the stages of Alzheimer's,
yeah,
you feel absolutely lost. And there is a wealth of information out there now compared to what there was for me,
hmm,
um, 13 years ago. But even now,
yeah,
a week doesn't go by that I don't hear from a stranger or a friend saying, "Hey, my mom, my
yeah,
dad, my wife, my husband, somebody was just diagnosed." I don't really know where to start, what to
yeah,
do. So if you're kind of in that position, Erin, where you think, like I did, mom's a little off.
yeah,
Something's not quite right. Um, it's 90 degrees in the house and she still insists on putting a sweater on the dog. Something's not right here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have time to check on this. She's an hour away
Hmm,
from me.
hmm,
Um, if this had been an option for me then, what are some of the things that you look for now when you're interviewing a home care company?
yeah,
Because it's so scary you
yeah,
know you need the help, but oh my God, then you read the horror stories and the this and the that,
yeah,
and then you're worried, you know
yeah.
what all the worries are. Yeah.
Oh
What do you
yeah,
look for and
yeah.
what are all the
And they're not
worries?
all created equal. Like you have to just like in senior communities, you have to vet them and know how to vet them. And there's certain levels, like the basic level, right? Is you're not going to talk to anyone who doesn't do background checks, you know, in the state as well as national background checks, who doesn't have their own training, right? And provide training for their professionals. You want to know what their hiring practices are. Who are they hiring? The real kind of that first level of screening that they're doing with their care professionals. And then the second level is really understanding how they work with their clients when it comes to matching, right? And what are their rules and what are their guidelines in putting someone in the home, and how do they do that and how do they match it? I think is obviously really important. And if you know your loved one is struggling with dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever that might be, Parkinson's, for example, another one, right? Is that you want to know, do they just handle or take care of people with those challenges? Or do they have a specialized program to help take care of those people with those
Yeah.
challenges? Those are two
How
different things.
educated are they on um because there are so many, for example, different forms
Yeah.
of dementia. You've got Alzheimer's, you have Parkinson's, you have frontal
Oh,
lobe,
yeah.
you have vascular, you have Lewy body, which is
Yeah.
characterized by really horrific hallucinations. So that's a good one. You have to know what you're looking for. You know what my biggest fear always was in hiring somebody, other than how the hell are we going to pay for it? Um, I was like, well, what if somebody doesn't show up? What if somebody?
Yeah.
That was always my
Those
biggest.
are, again, good questions. Like, how do you handle? Because here's the reality, and I want to paint a real picture here is that we're dealing with humans, right? These care professionals. Things happen. Um, no home care, no senior living community is a perfect hire. Like they're gonna have people sometimes who just flake out, or just don't show up. But how do they respond to that? Is more of what I'm interested in. And give me examples. And what do you do in the situation? What guarantees do you have in place when this happens? How quickly can you get a care professional out there if someone doesn't show up? Because if you're with a home care company long enough, that's bound to happen, even with the best ones.
Well,
And I was
people
going to
have
say that,
emergencies, but
what's that?
people have emergencies, but
Yeah,
mom's in Houston and I'm giving a speech in Orlando. I'm on stage and my phone is turned off. That was always one of my biggest fears. You turn the phone back on and there's all these missed calls from mom. It's like, oh my God, what's happened?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that was
And
just
you
one of
want
my
them.
big fears was them not showing up or leaving. I have to leave. I've had an emergency with my kid, which I understand, but
Yeah, and how do they know someone hasn't shown up? So sometimes the care
yeah,
professional may call, but there's technology. There's ways to clock in, clock out. They should know, they should have the technology in place to to know before you do in most cases of what's going on. And what you want is them calling you and saying, "Hey, this happened, but we took care of it.
Yeah,
We've been
it's
on top of
done.
it. Yeah, it's done, or at least we're in the process, and here's the status, right?" And you just want a proactive home care provider. One great resource, and I'm really proud of this resource because I helped found the resource, is Best of Home Care is an award series nationally.
Sent a
Um,
friend of mine to that after one of the many times I tried to interview
yeah,
him.
yeah, good,
And he
good.
loved it. He said, "Thank you,
Oh,
thank you." It was a
yeah,
lifesaver for him and his brother.
I love it.
Mom lives with the brother, and they were having some issues with she didn't want to take a bath. And thank you
Yeah.
for your advice. Chris said it was just a godsend. Thank you.
Oh, that's so good to hear that. Um, yeah, so th those home care providers, that's based upon real feedback, satisfaction. Obviously, Google reviews, you want to look at those things as well. But awards, even so, but there's Best of Home Care, which is driven by, it used to be called Home Care Pulse, which is the company I founded, but now it's called Activated Insights. So they do that. Best Place to Work, they also drive that over there. But also local recognition. Like there's county, local things that the top home care provider in the state or top home care provider in the county, those things are important to look at as long as it's not they just nominate themselves and and they get family and friends to vote for it. It has to be real. And that's what I love about the Best of Home Care is it's based upon real feedback, real interviews, satisfaction, and there's likely, I think, about 4,000 providers part of that system. So you should be able to find one in your area, unless you're very rural and not close to a major market. But um,
Now
that's a good resource.
you're dealing with the actual home care providers, the people
Yeah,
that run the companies, whether they're big or
yeah,
medium or small.
yeah,
You have all sorts of companies you work with. There is a hiring shortage in this country in so
yeah,
many industries, but particularly in care, in
yeah,
nursing, in home care, in um, how are you addressing that? How are you advising people? And what are people saying? How are they dealing with that right now? Because it's just going
yeah,
to get worse.
yeah. It's only going to get worse. And the challenge is that a lot of home care providers don't pay enough, right? For one. But if you have, and this is with any company, right? If you have a revolving door where you're lo in the first 90 days, you're losing as many people as you're hiring, that's a problem,
And it's
right?
probably the company's problem,
Yes,
not
yes,
a country. It's a company problem, not a
yes,
country problem.
yes. And so my recommendation, there's a few things, and I know why I shared some things on last time we talked, and this might be a little bit of a nuance from that, but you might, especially in private pay, but there's also great resources like Veterans Assistance Program, Medicaid waiver programs in certain states are really beneficial and are good. If you are able to privately pay for this, like you would in an independent living community and so forth, because they don't take usually government funds for a lot of those programs, that you'll want to pay a little bit more. Some of these home care providers charge more because they pay more. And pay is important for retention. I mean, whether uh, um, purpose, all of those things, we teach that day in, day out. Like you've got to connect with these people on their purpose. We have this really cool AI tool that our members use, the coaching members use to help the care professional identify what their purpose is and tie it to the company's core values. And it's just a very meaningful exercise. Those are all important, but we can't overlook the fact that if they aren't competitive with compensation, they're not going to keep their best people. And so that first 90 days when they hire a home care professional is critical. The onboarding, like when you're interviewing a home care company, what's your onboarding? Like, how do you keep them beyond that first 90 days? And why 90 days? That's when Like when and the data shows this, that if you can keep a care professional beyond that, they'll usually stay for the long term, or at least 2 to 3 years, right?
Because it's a tough job, and if you're
Yeah,
not taking care of your people and not
yeah,
recognizing the emotional burnout and the physical
yes.
burnout of taking care of people, what is the future? I mean, because I'm 65, almost 66. You're like 12. I don't know.
I'm
Uh,
52.
but I
Um,
mean, I'm
yeah,
aging into it. My husband's aging
yeah,
into it. You're not that far behind us.
yeah.
Um, uh, we all have to start thinking about that.
Hmm.
And it's getting ready to be just, I mean, there's a lot of us aging into it. What is the future of home care?
Yeah.
How will things
It's
change? What are you looking at
yeah.
in your crystal ball?
My crystal ball, I mean, it's like the Wayne Gretzky analogy, skate where the puck is going, and you have to think ahead and what technology is going to do to this. Because we are not yet at the about 20, I think it's what, 2033 is when we really hit this baby boomer tsunami, where a lot of the baby boomers are now going to be needing more care. My dad is turning 80 this year, so he's on the very forefront of that baby boomer. He was the first year. And so we have to recognize that, and that technology is going to continue to change that. And when you're looking at home care providers, what are they doing with that? The next 5 years, this is, I didn't share this last time, but this is fascinating, Dana, is that last year I went to this AI conference, Abundance 360, and in the conference, they had in the exhibit hall, they had this robot. She face, she had lips, she had all these things. And before the conference, they asked us information. We downloaded some of the information so that they had it. And I had a 45-minute conversation with this robot about
Oh
my
my.
interest, biking, because I love to I'm a cyclist. Even I think fishing, just a conversation, asking me questions. And so you think about humans, especially those people who have Alzheimer's, um, a care professional might last 10 to 15 minutes having a conversation, right? And then they get bored or they get frustrated or
Or they have to go take care of something, but if
they
they
have
have
to,
a robot to talk to,
yeah. But if the robot can sit there and talk for hours on one topic,
on World War
um,
II or,
yeah, long-term
whatever.
memory things, right? Because we all
Wow.
know that they can, those are the things that love to talk about the most. And so when you think about that kind of technology, there's companies. This company that had this robot, guess what their number one target is in deploying this robot? Home care,
Okay.
home care, getting them in the home. And I've shared this with several home care
It's
providers in
so
the
creepy, but
industry.
it's also such a great idea at the same
Yeah, yeah,
time.
it's coming. And I get some home care providers who are like embracing it because they want to work with home care agencies. They feel like we're not just gonna deploy our own. We want to work with the companies that are already in the home. And those home care providers who embrace that, because there's still personal care. I mean, the technology won't, and they told me this for still a few years out, where a robot can actually put glasses on someone's face without poking their eye out.
Yeah,
There's
well,
not
that would be a problem.
the tactical is not quite
Right
there,
there.
but the communication, it's there.
Wow.
Yeah,
My mom would have loved that.
yeah,
She could have just sat there and chatted about slot machines and jewelry and yeah, because
exactly.
you're right. After a few minutes, I was like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
gotta go.
I
And it
can't do
remembers
this
all that.
anymore.
So the next day, pick up where they left off or ask questions, and it just gets smarter and talking
Wow.
with
I'm gonna tell my
that
kids they
person.
better save their money. I want a robot when the time comes. All right, before I let
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
again, I mean, you deal in the home care space, but you're a best-selling author. You're a speaker. You're so motivational and so positive.
Oh,
You
thank
must
you.
follow Aaron Marcum on LinkedIn. I just love all your writing. I'm like, when does this man have time to do all of this? Oh my gosh. Um,
Well, I
Talk to me
appreciate
about
that.
your book. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. So if somebody wanted to read
Yeah.
something you've written,
Yeah. I wrote it for my target was entrepreneurs in general, but it's for everybody. It's so agnostic, like the principles. So it's positive psychology meets business owners and helping them thrive regardless of circumstance. That's the science of positive psychology. It's not the science of
and the
happiness.
title of the book,
Entre thrive. Thank you.
Entre
So
Thrive.
entrepreneurial thriving.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know Brian Tracy, the
Yes, I
great
do. I do.
inspired me years ago. He wrote my foreword.
You know, he's
Uh,
like 180 and he's
yeah.
still the most prolific speaker. He has a great, this is what I will always remember. I was on stage with Brian at something for the National Speakers
Oh, wow.
Association years ago, and he has the most incredible cure for jet lag.
Okay.
I mean, if you ever get a chance, ask him. But and I
I
can't,
will.
it's like you take a hot bath and you sleep for 11 minutes. And I can't, I have it written down somewhere. But
Okay.
when I was doing a lot of overseas, it's like his cure for, you can immediately be ready and at your best
Yeah.
after a long
He is
flight.
he is a brilliant man. Even now, like the email exchanges that I've had with him, even recently, um, it's he's just he is so direct and so bold. And I
Oh
love it.
yes,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
direct. Well, ask him
Yeah.
to send you his jet lag cure.
Jet lag. I'll do that.
Yeah, it was
Anyway,
like
I'm
one of
really
those. He
proud
was
that
always a
he
very smart sort of. If you go onto my website and sign up for my newsletter, I'll send
yeah.
you my. He's very good at that. And I
Yeah.
always like to end with tell me an interesting fact about you. And I'm not going to let you use the last one. Aaron puts ketchup on his grilled cheese sandwiches, and I will never let him get over the ick. But
Yeah. Yeah.
now you have to pull another interesting fun fact out of the air on Aaron Markham.
Yeah. This is a little bit more on the meaningful side, but I have six kids. Um, three boys, three girls.
We know what causes
Yeah, I
that.
do. I do. Yeah, been married for almost 29 years. But we have gone on a trip. So I've taken them on one-on-one trips. Sometimes they invite a sibling with them when they were 14 and when they're senior in high schools. 14 trip is in the United States. That's the rule. We go to some historical or something interesting, sometimes pro sports and so forth. And then the senior trip is international typically. And it has been a wonderful way to connect with my kids, get to know them.
What's the
Yeah, just a
oddest
wonderful
request you've
tradition.
gotten, or the most surprising?
Most surprising. Well, they all love the Caribbean. At least three of the five that I've taken, I still have a 16-year-old. He's still waiting on his senior trip,
Okay.
but they love the Caribbean. But the oddest one, um,
Mine was
you
my
know,
oldest. He wanted to rent an RV and drive around
okay,
Alaska for 10 days.
yeah,
So we literally, for research, watched Robin Williams'
oh,
movie about I think he nicknamed it the Rolling Turd or something like that. And we did.
yeah.
We drove around a lot, didn't have
Oh,
a
that
clue
is
what we were
amazing.
doing.
I would love that. Come to think of it, my oldest, so he volunteered in Costa Rica, a remote farm for 3 weeks. And the senior trip was I went out for the first week and we just kind of toured, but he wanted to just volunteer on a remote farm. Didn't
Ah,
really have Wi-Fi and helped this family out on their farm. And it was hard. It was
a
hard,
lot of
but
work.
a lot of work. I don't think he expected it to be quite as hard as it was, but a great experience for him, and that's what he chose. So
Well, what's next for you?
next for me, we are. I mean, I love working with entrepreneurs, and we continue to obviously grow in home care, but we're also expanding, senior living, and I just for me is just the impact of bringing positive psychology into the forefront of helping um, entrepreneurs specifically live better lives because that trickles down pretty quickly to their team and their cultures, and then the impact is exponential. But changing again, having changing the dynamics of home care continually because it does impact what you do and others when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia. It's a direct correlation. And if they're taking care of themselves, they're taking care of the people that they're caring for, in the homes. So,
All right, before I let you go,
yeah.
how can people find you? Where's the best place to connect with you?
Two places. So breakaway365.com is our coaching program and platform, and we have some really great tools there. But they can also go to aaronmarcum.com.
Yeah.
That's two A's, Aaron, Marcum.com.
All
So,
right, I'll make sure I
yeah,
have that wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. I'll make
yeah,
sure
thank you.
I have all that in the description. I think we actually made this work. I don't have any wood to knock on right now, but I think it did. And let's keep this
Good.
conversation going because
100%.
boy, did I need you 13 years ago. And I
Oh,
and I know there are people that need you right now and will need you in the future because we haven't even begun to realize how the numbers are going to grow
oh,
in seniors who need
so,
care. And please, damn it, people have a plan.
yes.
Final
Amen.
words, a Ron.
No, I would echo that is that take time, sit down with your loved ones who are getting to that point and have those rich conversations and record their history. I would also add that, like understand who they are, how they lived so that if they ever get dementia, that's a great, I mean, put that into a robot, right? Let them have all those conversations with them. So,
I hope this helps a bit, and if it does, share it with others. You cannot do this crazy journey alone. And if you need more information on the book, the play, or more episodes, go to danasteele.com. Surviving Alzheimer's with Friends, Facebook, and a really big glass of wine is available in Kindle and paperback versions on Amazon. Hashtag Surviving Alzheimer's is produced by JFA Inc. in association with Blue Squirrel Productions.